tWoTcast, episode 255. Great note.
All right, everyone shut the f*** up.
Wheel of Time. Reread a podcast. Explicit and R freaking rated. Jono's the wild card, always talking shit. Joe's the straight man. He's a total dick. Tom calls in if he's not too busy. We are tWoTcast!
You listen to tWoTcast, the Wheel of Time read podcast. Now covering Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time, Book 1, The Eye of the World. I'm Jono, and with me is Joe.
Hey, Jono.
Hey,
Hi.
Joe.
Hi.
And during quarantine times, it is always the addition of one motherfucking Thomas O'Hara.
Study your math.
Study my math. Man,
You know, Tom
That's all
did
I
say
got.
he would be here more often for the Wheel of Time episodes.
yeah. Which, by the way,
I would have been here either way.
you have been?
Well, mostly.
Yeah, mostly.
I don't want to do reading or playing, but what have you guys been watching during quarantine?
Ooh. So there's tranny porn.
Yeah, that's a given.
Yeah, no, during quarantine, not all the time.
Yeah. Because sometimes during quarantine, not in quarantine, I film it. Let's see. We were talking about this earlier, but What We Do in the Shadows,
Yeah.
Sex
I started
Education.
Season 2.
Yep. Sex Education. Ozark Season 3. The Magicians, interestingly.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, yeah?
Good choice.
So I read the first book years ago.
Oh, we've talked
First
about
episode.
this.
Oh, did we? God damn it.
Yeah.
I drink a lot.
We also talked about Ozark Season 3 last time we talked about shows to what we're watching.
Irrelevant. 2 more episodes left. My favorite character is, of course, Sue the therapist.
She's fantastic. She's great.
Yeah. I would like. Well, no spoilers. But she's fucking dead.
Tom, did you watch the Ben Schwartz Thomas Middleditch?
Yeah, it was
Long-form
fucking
improv?
fantastic.
If you like long form improv, it is a fucking amazing show.
Actually, even if you don't, because I don't.
I'm not
still
like a
fantastic.
huge fan of long form improv either, but they
Hold
are,
on. What is it? What is this?
They are. It's Ben Schwartz. He played John Ralphio.
Yeah, John Ralphio.
And Thomas Middleditch.
Thomas
from the
Middleditch.
Silicon Valley show. If you ever watched that on HBO.
No, but I
And-
appreciate Gabe.
But it is just those two guys and 2 chairs on a stage, and they just get like somebody to randomly talk in the audience, and then they just do improv for like 45 minutes, and it is fucking funny as shit.
It's only 3 episodes. It's hilarious.
Yeah, but they're
What's it
almost
on?
like they're almost an hour apiece though, so it's a decent chunk.
What's it on?
It's on Netflix.
Never heard of that.
Watch
Well,
that
it's
tomorrow.
spectacular.
You'll enjoy it.
I doubt
Or
it.
later tonight.
Oh,
Whatever. I don't know what you do. Usually after we hang up, I have one more drink and go to bed because I'm old and tired, but
I'm
you
exhausted.
might be up all night.
Also, you're happy to know
I'm
that
kind of up all
we
night.
started Community.
Oh yeah,
Thank God.
Yeah.
it's about time you understand why me and Tom love everyone from that show.
Well, really, it's just a bed.
A bed. It's just a bed.
Yeah, it's just a bed that I love. That's not
Abed is great.
Abed.
They're all great though.
Britta. Britta can die.
Britta is.
She gets funnier later.
She does
Well, yeah.
because she's playing a very
serious.
specific role in the beginning, and then later on they don't need that anymore, and she just becomes hilarious. Kind of like how Ross got funny like halfway through Friends,
I don't know. If that's true.
or Winston got funny halfway through New Girl.
I thought we were going for a Ghostbusters reference. Winston.
No.
It's when they stop like writing for the character they originally created and they just become a
And they
cartoon
just
themselves.
it's
Everything gets ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
I mean, Britus is some of my favorite shit in the later seasons.
I'm not watching anything else. Did you guys watch Devs on FX with Nick Offerman?
No. I started
really
Westworld season 3.
Yeah, I started that.
What
I'm watching a lot of things, but like nothing of note. But I did really enjoy Devs.
Well, I don't really have I mean, the kid sucks up all my TV watching fucking time because she doesn't go to bed until like.
Here we go, Jono. Here we go.
I'm just saying I haven't been doing the normal amount of binge watching that everyone else is getting to do.
Yeah.
Knowing somebody that has a kid is more exhausting than having a kid, I think.
I hope not.
You know what I mean?
It's not complaining, Tom. It's just mentioning the facts.
Diddling? Is that still one of the things we're doing?
No, I just wanted to know what you're watching. I don't care about all that other shit.
Well, it kind of relates to what I'm diddling. Well, all right. Well, I guess we'll.
What are you reading?
Quick, our
That's
Jordan Con
interesting.
Online episode went on YouTube last weekend.
Yes.
For Jordan Con Online.
Jordan Con Line, by the way.
Jordan Con Line, sorry.
I don't know how you do that.
But
every
we'll
time.
put it out on as a normal episode as 254. But as the podcast viewers know, if they're listening to this show, then they've already watched it. You know.
I enjoyed our just kind of everything. There were some really cool panels. There was also a fun dance party.
Did you watch any of the panels?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What'd you watch?
I watched one when I was really drunk. I forget what it was, but I was just like, I just don't know what to watch.
I enjoyed
the dance party. Was weirdly entertaining. Yeah. Sorry.
And then I guess off the record, I didn't watch a lot of panels because it seemed like so many involved.
Are we still off the record?
No, I'm just going to edit out that one name.
I didn't watch anything either. Like, fuck that. Like, I wasn't going to watch anything besides Jordan God Dance Party.
What are you reading?
Hold on. You will forget this.
No.
I actually want to know.
What am I reading? So I'm in I think the last Witcher book.
That you have no idea what the title is, as always.
It's over there. So Lady of the Swallows?
It's over there somewhere.
Yeah, Lady of Swallows or Swallow My Dick Lady. I don't know, like that.
Lady of Swallows.
The date given for publication, just because I assumed these books have been out for a long time, but maybe it's just the translation they're doing. But the previous one was 2017. I was like, wait a minute, the movie or the game came out, or the famous of the games. Third one came out in like 2015. But anyway, so I'm doing that, and then after finishing The Witcher, I'm probably going to move along to Joe Abercrombie, rereading stuff and then moving to his new things. Joe, your turn.
I am reading The Girl Who Takes an Eye for an Eye, and I've been dragging through this one. It's the second book in the second Millennium trilogy. But I'm almost done, and then I'll be on the last one. But
You're just going slower, it's not good.
No, it's fine. It's a good book. It's just, I don't know. I didn't have as much time to read recently, and I've been trying to keep up with the podcast and a million other things. I don't know. I just haven't had time. It's just as good. I just haven't had as much time. And then I decided to get back into the James Bond novel, so I ordered me a Thunderball.
Yeah. Which one are you
That's
reading?
on the way. Well, no, I'm done reading everything I have. I ordered Thunderball in the mail, so it'll come.
And he strikes. Thunderball.
I mean, I have them all in order right now. So, the only one I have that I haven't read is Casino Royale, but I'm saving it for the end because I want to do it weirdly backwards, just like the movies.
Yeah, but the movie.
There was a Casino Royale.
Yeah, but that wasn't an official James Bond movie, Tom.
That had 3 different James Bonds. It was bullshit.
Yeah, so Thunderball's the next one. Then when I get through that, it's Spy Who Loved Me, and so on and so on, till I reach Quantum of Solace, the short story collections.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was like, I need to pick those fucking things back up. I only got like halfway through the series. Why the fuck not? They're really good.
They're on the back
So as soon as I'm done with the girl who does whatever the fuck she does in the next book, I'm going to pick up James Bond.
Well, there was The Girl Who Eats My Ass by Ian Fleming.
Actually, I think the next book is something like the girl who lived twice or something like that. You only
live twice, or so it seems.
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong on the wording of that. Pretty sure the last book said something about living twice.
I think it sounds right.
Have you read the second trilogy, Tom, of the girl
You
tattoo?
only live twice. No. If the author died, why would I finish a book series? You know what I mean?
Woo! That's a dig at Robert Jordan.
All right, so should we just start, or?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, it's
kind of
time.
recapped a little Jordan Con line. We, we talked about watching stuff. We talked about reading stuff. Yeah, I'm ready.
I've got my recap of chapter 43 ready to go.
Good.
So once you announce it.
Oh, spoiler warning.
Yeah, spoiler warning. This is our episode covering The Eye of the World, written by D. Robert the Jordan, covering chapters 43 through 45. That's right. We'll be bringing 3 chapters of this book to you. And, let's get to it. Thomas O'Hara, tell us facts, Jack.
The recap of chapter 43. Just real quick, I almost wanted to do this for every chapter going forward and make it like a title card from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because I wrote The Gang Learns About the Ways.
That's good. That should be the recap every time.
But the chapter doesn't always focus on a gang. All right, anyway, The Gang Learns About the Ways. They have bad dreams and Rand gets a splinter. Lan wakes them up to depart. That's pretty much the whole chapter.
So
I'm going to start us off before Jono starts talking about old stuff we said in tWoTcast episode 4.
Fuck yeah. Episode 4.
Yep. Episode 4, we covered the 4th part of book 1, Jono. I don't know if you knew that. What are we on right now? Part 12?
It's insane.
I know.
We covered this 900-page book in 4 parts.
So when I was listening to the section where we covered these 3 chapters, we basically talked about chapter 43 a little, touched on 44, and then ripped through 45 and the whole section of that we covered these chapters is like maybe 10 minutes long.
How angry was I? How much did you have to edit?
I don't know. I don't remember what I edited.
You know, we were covering 25% of a book in like an hour and a half. I feel like we didn't have to rein you in that much because we all were just like, all right, what's next?
Yeah, we got to go.
It's once we started to slow it down, you're like, finally, let's talk about the wrinkle in every piece of
So
book.
we were joking about Ishmael not knowing who, which of the boys was which boy in statue form, and I called him ignorant, and Tom said something like, it takes balls to call the dark one ignorant, which I thought was hilarious.
Does it?
And then I was like, it's not the dark one.
You know better.
They didn't.
We didn't believe Ishmael when he talked about the Black Aja. I don't know if you still had that thought in your mind when you read this. Basically, when he mentions the Black Aja, we were like, what? You're lying. He's lying then. Kind of thing.
He
And Tom, you
it?
made the note of that makes the prologue of book 2 scarier because you didn't even believe that the Black Aja existed, kind of thing. You thought he was lying to Rand, which I thought was a cool note.
Well, I mean, obviously, Tom believes.
It's a really good point by me.
And here's the thing that drove me fucking crazy. I say for approximately the 4th or 5th time, this is the first time Rand's gotten injured in a dream. Not one time when I say it in the podcast, by the way, is it the first time that he's gotten injured in a dream. Including like the sunburn and like the thorn prick from like a million. I'm like, what the fuck? Is not the first time, you idiot. It's like the 7th time. And it's not the first time I had said it either. I think I'd said it like every episode for the whole book.
That's exceptionally bad for you since you edited those episodes.
I was probably just laughing at my own self.
Joe.
Anyway, we can get back into normal stuff. I'll bring up some more tidbits later. Chapter 43, Jono, what you got?
Joe had a much finer sense of irony and humor. And so it's just always kind
This is
of
the
like
first time he's been hurt in a dream, I think, with a little wooden sword.
That's a real question for Jess.
adding the same audio clip in. Like, this is the first time he's been hit with a sword. He's just the first. Just kept doing it.
Yeah, I'll just keep. Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Yeah.
Listening to us from 10 years ago, are we smarter or dumber?
Smarter.
Well, I mean, even the hesitation is encouraging.
I think
Honestly,
especially the
I'm
early
happy.
episodes.
I'm happy there's not even a drop off.
Yeah, I don't know what I feel about that.
I only assume I get dumber by the day, the older I get.
I'll be honest.
I think this time around we've been a little less focused on like theorizing and analyzing stuff. Like we've just been like, this is what's happening in the chapter. Let's tell some jokes. It's fun, and we move on. Like last time, old episodes were more like really analytical and like picking stuff apart, or being like, or asking each other questions like, what do you think about this, or blah blah blah, kind of thing.
We didn't have the final book yet, and also I think at some point
that
during
was a big
first
part of
run, we all decided like we have to stop like theorizing.
Yeah,
whenever I would read people's theories, I would just be like, I hate you so much. I wish you would stop guessing and just talk about what's come so far.
I have.
Right.
Well, I guess.
What do you got, Jono? It's not a particularly like exciting chapter.
I have.
I mean, it is the first time you read it.
So my first question here is like, post-breaking creation of the ways, right? So the male Aes Sedai are given shelter, which the blues think is good, the reds think is bad, and it's weirdly relevant to now of like.
That's true.
Technically, like channeling social distance. So instead of breaking the world all at once, they took some time off. So again, weirdly relevant to now, and you can get your own epidemiologist to tell you what to think. But
so we're following the blues recommendation of what to do with the coronavirus right now instead of the reds.
Yeah, the reds.
You know what?
All out to
you know what else is. You know what else is hilarious? Weird about that is red states are reopening early and blue states are like no.
There we go.
Weirdly apt.
Clearly, Robert Jordan was a Democrat because he was, espousing the blue point of view. So anyway, the physics of the ways, by the way, are fascinating to me. Like, we don't need to get into the entirety of it, but like it seems that
Jono, you don't want to go into the ways. You'll die in there.
It's true. That is true.
But let's all go in there anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. I do like, by the way, that they've got this kind of like. Are we already in the waves? What's chapter 43?
No. They're not even walking to the wake yet by the end of this chapter.
Oh yeah, we're
this is just a dream. Yeah, this is just Loyal explaining.
Yeah, Loyal. It's pages of Loyal explaining the ways, and then the dream, and then Lan wakes them up and like, we got to get out of here.
I've always been interested by the fact that Moraine says, and this is before the dream, but there's enough power at the eye of the world to undo his prison. And
yeah,
I think Tom mentions a good point earlier that, and by earlier I mean never. That.
It's okay. We do that all the time.
It's not necessarily that the power is there because Rand sucks it all. You know what I mean? But Tom mentioned to me that, well, what happens there? There's a fucking broken seal. So obviously there is technically enough power there to break his seal. And I'd never noticed that. So Tom O'Hara, thank you. Anyway, so it was time for bath and an end time.
It's time for Balagazagazazamaman to have 3 statues, and Rand gets hurt.
Yeah, unless of course you guys wanted to mention how annoying Egwene here is with Elaine. We don't. We moved. So
we did earlier.
Hey Tom, you know what you said in the other episode? By the way, you were like. Who hates Elaine? And me and you were like, yes. And Donna's like, no. We're like, oh, okay.
Unacceptable.
All things change. Oh, wrong beer. I've got too many beers.
So Rand crushes the statue and gets hurt for the first time ever in a dream.
Joe, give some background.
What? No, that's the background. That's all we do.
So for those who are
first time he
listening,
got hit.
So him getting hurt by that splinter going into his hand in that dream, that jibes with the idea that you can get hurt for real until around Riyadh.
Yeah.
yes,
But does the splinter it comes out of the dream with him, right? And like lasts for like a second?
as soon as it's out of his flesh spear, it goes away.
Yeah, it was sticking in him though. It was there. You're not wrong. Do you guys have any thoughts on when Matt picks up his own statue and he can feel his own hand holding his body? Do you think he could jerk off his? Do you think he could jerk off his statue self?
Why did we not talk about this?
Why isn't this the focus of an entire episode?
I can still feel it today. I can still feel it.
He's like, I can feel my own body. I can feel my own body.
Can you go in and tell around Riyadh and then create a dream version of yourself and jerk yourself off?
Well, yeah, sure.
It would look like
if you're a powerful dream walker, like a queen.
What happens if you go into the dream and make a dream version of a queen and just be like, hey,
can you all feel?
have you ever heard of?
I can't if I'm holding my own statue, Jono.
Can you all?
Just hand it to her and just be like, just hold this, hold it.
No, what's funny? What if Matt had picked up like Rand's statue? Would Rand have been like, "What the hell?" Felt a big hand around him.
Or parents like just grabbing the fucking sword, putting it up Matt's dick. Like, yeah.
What if Matt had picked up another statue? If he had picked up the statue of Perrin, would his face appeared on Perrin's body, and then he would have been like, "I know who you are now," and he's like, "Don't you? Do you? This isn't me, you idiot."
We said so many interesting things before the recording dropped out. Now we're just talking about statue masturbation.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Get me to the end of this chapter.
All right. It's been like 4 hours, but they felt like an hour. Moraine says there's little time. We need to go. And she heals Rand's hand. Chapter 44. Tom, hit us with your recap.
The recap.
44.
The recap is
the most important question.
The recap is
every.
I'll kill
no, you do the recap. I'm sorry. Yeah.
The recap is
time drinking.
The gang goes through the ways in some guy's basement, and they travel the ways and reach a broken section of the bridge. It's pretty basic chapter. They get a little deeper into the ways in the next one. This one's,
So we can talk about Gil's hidden passageway again if you want.
I do, because you got a great joke. So
the dumb thing I did was that I mentioned, I wrote in my current notes that I said, like, what the fuck is he Han Solo? And then in the episode 4, 10 years ago, I said something along the lines of, is he some sort of Han Solo? Like some sort of fucking smuggler or something? Which I was just like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's the second innkeeper in this book that has a secret passageway.
Yes,
I know, that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like, is this just like a standard innkeeper thing? Or are they just like, go out the secret passage? Don't worry about anything else.
Maybe every time they get to a new city, Moraine's like, scout out all the inns and look for the ones that have secret passageways, and then we'll stay there.
Yeah, they're good people. In Paris, I mean, the one at Four Kings did not have any sort of ability for Rand to even be anonymous at all. You had to walk in front of those fucking.
well, the one in Four Kings is just like the innkeeper hired a Nazi and was like, "I need you to keep an eye on the secret door for me."
Yeah.
We're going to smuggle people out of it.
Yeah. You know what we're going to do? We're going to smuggle them out, then bring them right back in and rape them. Not a very good smuggling route.
Oh, wait, I do. That does bring that up, though, Jono. Tom did coin hake rape in this episode.
Tell me more.
Really?
Yes.
I think it's just important to mention that Tom coined the term hake rape in episode 4 of tWoTcast.
I think it's incredibly important. It's the only thing
I brought it up the last time in episode, I don't know, 252 or something like that. And I was like, well, that's weird. We talked about hake rape, but we never said hake rape. And in this episode, he brought it back up, and that's how it happened.
Just give the goddamn background to it.
Well, you were miming juggling. Because we were talking about Matt, and Tom said, looks like you want to get raped by hate. Sounds like some hate rape.
Jono was miming that he wanted to juggle somebody's balls.
This is what we call viewers.
Emotion.
This is what we call forcing it.
I meant to tell you guys last time. Glad I didn't. I went on a deep dive. I can't understand how it is the Ogier sense the waves.
Like how it is that they sense it?
Like they know they're nearby?
Yeah. Doesn't make
I mean, well, the waves are right by the steading.
That doesn't make sense though. The steading
or in a grove though, not necessarily a steading.
Well, either way, I guess a place that they're drawn to.
But they're independent things. And not with that, like the ways have existed.
The only thing I can
years
suppose is that since it was made for them, it's somehow connected to them. I mean, they had the ability to keep growing it themselves and like adding on way gates where needed. So like clearly they have an affinity for it that was somehow built into the initial structure of it.
They're theoretically the only ones that can travel it unaided, even though apparently Myrddraal and Trollocs do as well. No, individual travelers, like back when they were bright, could travel by themselves.
Supposedly. We've never seen examples, which we'll get into later on.
How many Trollocs do you think got murdered?
Fucking many.
Trying to find a way to the two rivers.
80%.
So many.
Like massive amounts. I don't even trust them not to fall over the edge. There's no railings, right?
Yeah, because like...
There are. There's
no railings. They're railingless.
They talk about the fact that there are some.
Incorrect.
They die quickly, though. I
think there's railings around the landing platforms. I think the bridges are just arcs that go out into the darkness.
Maybe.
Can I just say personally, if I was going to travel the ways, I would much prefer it to be dark so I couldn't see like the mind-bending physics of that shit rather than be bright and like look around and see it all of it moving around. I wouldn't want to be in a Salvador Dali painting that I could see every detail of. I'd rather it just be dark and I'm just walking down the street.
Let's get
back in episode 4.
Oh, God.
We talked about, is this the same place they go when they skim? Kind of more as a joke, but also just because it's dark and, you know. And I was like, what if you fell through the ways? Would you like, what if you were skimming and you fell off? Would you like bang off a ways bridge before you kept going?
At some point.
That's what happened. That's what happened to that broken bridge later on, is someone just fell through it.
Someone was skimming and just fell off and hit a bridge and it cracked in half.
With the speed and mass of an asteroid. Falling for 1,000 years.
What happened? I mean, time moves differently there. What if it was like one of the, like in book 4 when Rand brings a bunch of Aiel through the skimming platform and one of them falls off the edge or something, like it's that guy. None of it makes sense.
I don't think it's bad enough, or a question to bring up though is like, I think there's a part that comes up in a bit how Rand feels like these are kind of moderately similar to something, but then what? And the answer, I think, is, well, you've been having these dream sharks, dumbass, or you've been running around bridges for the last fucking 6 months. That's why it's... So I think that there is a kernel of truth to the idea that the ways and others are very 100% related. Maybe very 100%. That are related.
Very 100%.
I'm going to start saying that all the time in real life.
They've been
so anyway,
time and distance.
They travel through the streets. They're quiet. They find a cellar. Moraine leads them down there.
I love this one fucking dude just finally realizes, like, that's not a tall guy leading children. It's being led by a fucking insane Jono.
I like Tom's idea of it's the guy sees Loyal leading a horse.
It's one man on a horse and 8 children on a little Sebastian.
On little ponies.
Are we still at 8 or is it 9 at this point?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
I think Nicolas Cage is hanging on the back of them.
He's the horse now. No one notices that Nicolas Cage is being ridden by someone.
They get to the basement. I mean, I understand, I guess, for dramatic effect, a little blown away by their concern about being caught. Like, who cares?
Yeah, what's going to happen? The guy comes down, he's like, I was supposed to open my flower shop. There's a bunch of people in my cellar.
What's he going to do?
There's a bunch of people in my basement. Shut up, old man.
If he calls the guard, they're long gone. He obviously is not going to do anything himself. Is he going to fight? Is he going to beat Lan in a fight?
I guess.
What are we worried about here?
Flower.
I think the only thing that you would be worried about is white cloaks, or if there were somehow Trollocs inside the city walls sneaking around at night.
I guess maybe you'd be worried about a shop owner like seeing you use the ways and him just being like, "Oh shit." It's about to get.
I just realized I have a lot more storage space in my cellar.
Yeah, if the shop owner was like Dennis and Mac from Sunny.
What if they'd gone in? What if they opened the way gate and then when they walked in, they're just stumbling across a bunch of boxes like he'd just been using it as like a crawl space in his basement? He's all this shit. Oh, that's my. Those are my summer clothes. That's where I keep them.
Tom, I think you're on to something. This is definitely in a Sunny episode, like the one where they find the fucking like weeping like.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to talk about. The one where they find, that shop owner would be like when they find the Virgin Mary in the fucking office. The shop owner would have everybody buy all the time. Just like, look, I pulled this leaf away. There you go.
And the door opens. It's amazing.
Why don't you walk right in? Then they'll get Rickety Cricket to come in and bless it.
Cricket.
So she opens the gate. They go in one by one. I mean, it's pretty cool because it's your introduction to the ways. But other than that, I don't really have a lot to say. Other than that, they're packed in really closely and the horses are rubbing together.
I think that the ways are very original. And you know, maybe I haven't read it. I can't think of anything predating 1990 where you open up a fucking wall and it's not just like you're going into another world. Instead of that, you're just going between worlds. You're going into a place that's just, you know, here's how to travel from A to B.
What about that wardrobe from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe?
Never heard of it. That came after. This is a vanishing cabinet, actually, from Harry Potter. So I apologize.
Yeah, they're in Diagon Alley.
Well, we really don't need to talk about how something's a rip-off of Harry Potter since everything is.
So the bridges are pitted, the bridges arc away, suddenly a bridge stops in a complete break. Chapter 45. It's funny me.
Body joke.
Hey, speaking of Mario, Tom said, can you add a Mario effect every time we talk about going in and out of the ways?
Wait, are we recording now?
Yeah, we've been recording this whole time.
I didn't know that was part of the podcast.
What is a podcast?
It could be our way back in, Tom.
Well, introduce me to chapter 45 so I can give you
chapter 45, what follows in shadow.
What
Tom,
we do in the
a
shadow.
bit of a breakdown, what we do in the shadows.
It's not a lot. It's just more of the ways someone's following them. They find dead Trollocs. They run from Machin Shin.
Who's following them? Is it Colin Robinson?
Possibly. We don't know. Spoiler.
Tom, did you watch What We Do in the Shadows yet?
Yeah, I watched the first season.
Did you like it?
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, I fucking love that movie. I love that show.
Yes. Creepy paper. Creepy paper. I died laughing on my rewatch on scene 1 where he's just grabbing crepe paper and just keeps saying creepy paper. Like on my rewatch, that's all I've been laughing at. Like every time, creepy paper.
That's a good show.
No, Master.
All right, so the bridge is broken. They go back to find a new way, Jono. And when they get back to the ogre post with the ogre writing, they find out there's a sign there, and it just has an arrow pointing, and it says Faldera. So they go that way.
Creepy.
That's lucky.
I feel like it's Zelda sign. I don't know why, but just kind of like, oh, that way to Hyrule Castle.
Oh, by the way, Jono, my notes say they go back to find a new way. Can you teach me this? What did you call it? A new way? Is that your eagle sound?
I have good eagle sound. This break did no one favors. I just got drunker.
Anyway, so they stop for Din Din because they're hungry.
Yeah.
We're going to cover them eating dinner.
No, Tom, but they stop for the night, I think. Anyway, Moraine thinks Tom is alive, which I thought was kind of cool. We talked about it in the old podcast,
everybody thinks that.
Yeah, I know, but it's interesting to hear her say it and hear her be like, he's tied to the pattern and I know things. And they're like, oh, because of men? And she's like, yeah, it's because of men. Men told me.
Well,
so I'm not actually all knowing.
And it actually doesn't. It does make a lot of sense when everyone's just like, look, if a Gleeman got killed by a Fade in the middle of the town square, people would be talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's exactly that. It's just kind of like, if there were a corpse just left there, they would have talked about it. Also, I talked to men who told me that I was going to have some dirty, rough sex with him, which, clearly hadn't happened. So 2 for 2, these things occur. He's not dead. Unless she has dirty, rough sex. Yeah.
The M in Moraine is short for mustache ride.
Unless the dirty sex is with a corpse, Jono.
That's hot.
Oh, yeah. I guess the mustache would still be there for that mustache ride.
Gross.
Hard, otherwise that desiccated flesh would rip off. So, by the way, I think we talked about it earlier, but I can't remember if it was recording or not. I'm fascinated, as you can imagine, by how the ways used to be. Like, with grass, with fruits.
Oh, the bright and happiness of it all?
Yeah. Were there seasons? Was there wind?
Well, there was plants growing.
Exactly.
Doesn't it sound
night and day?
Doesn't it sound nice enough that, at some point somebody would have wanted to build a house in there?
Yeah, exactly.
What if it would? All right, it's not night and day, but only the plants that are survive in full sunlight. That's the only ones that are growing in there.
Are you talking about the Tom Cruise Cameron Diaz movie?
Yeah,
night and day. No, night and day.
Tom, Joe is actually talking about his bad mistakes with gardening, where he put something in his front yard that should have been in the backyard because of the amount of sunlight that was hitting it.
Right. And
he's
the exact reason why I have no grass in my backyard right now.
If you know what I mean. Shaved it.
Yep, shaved.
Shaved it, waxed it.
Bleached.
Chewed it out.
I don't know what we're talking about. All I know is that Joe's backyard is a complete and perfect metaphor for his asshole.
Wait, what?
Wait, it's metaphor?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, our viewers are all aware that I shave and bleach my asshole.
Anyway, his backyard is as an asshole, so now it's a simile.
So there is
I really like
for a
how
little while.
Matt's I like how Matt goes, I remember her looking at Rand the whole time. How did she ever have time to have visions of us? And then Duncan's like, what? And he's like, I talked to her one time. She was basically a boy.
But she's a pretty boy.
It's one book in, and him and Egwene are still somewhat betrothed, and he's already met 2 of his future wives.
I know. So tell me about Elaine. Oh, she's a princess. What about this Min girl? She's basically a boy. I don't know. She wears.
We didn't talk about it long enough in the last chapter because we did once. But I'm so annoyed by Egwene. She's like, who's Elaine? Like, oh, it's the daughter of Randor. You fucking asshole. If you can't be serious for one motherfucker, stuck your dick in
I'm serious. She's an actual princess. Like Zelda.
Is that a joke that Rand would be known for? Classic Rand making jokes
Classic
about
Rand making up princess jokes.
And I'm just trying to talk about pussy.
I got this.
I suppose Elf Gridwell is the Secretary of State.
Here's how he actually told the joke, though. In fairness to Elaine, he's like, Farmer Elaine was climbing up a tree and to pull out a chicken that was stuck up there from Farmer Grinwell's farm. And as he fell down into the pool, Elsa Greenwell was like, why didn't you say hi to me?
Joe, I just got to say that was a perfect joke, and I don't want to do the podcast anymore.
The worst part is that's the lamest joke I've ever told in my life, and it's a random joke from book 4.
No, we're not talking about your joke. We're talking about the Secretary of State joke. Anyway, Perrin says, perfect. Not like Aram. And then Egwene spits her tea out.
So we already know they're not getting together.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious at this point.
They're literally the only people they've ever met in their entire lives, and the second they get to the outside world, they're like, I'm going to fuck everything but you.
See that chick? See that chick? See that chick? See that chick? I'm going to dance with this man. He's like flying with a bird. And you're like, what?
In fairness, I mean, Rand, we know, fucks 3 different women. Egwene?
I didn't realize.
Egwene is just with Galen, right?
No one?
Wrong. Aram.
Oh, that's right. He definitely slept with her.
We already talked about this like a week ago.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Egwene's a virgin, and then she dies.
Jono, you wrote, or you said something. I said like, Perrin said something about like, oh, not like Aram, and Egwene like spits out her tea, and Robert Jordan actually writes the words "red spots bloom," and you have nothing. You got nothing on that?
Just starts menstruating instantly.
I wrote Rand can't jerk off in the waves because Matt and Perrin are looking at him while he sleeps.
They would feel that slight breeze from his hand going back and forth. And be like,
it's just hilarious. It's just so funny because he can't sleep and he like rolls over on one side and Perrin's just like staring at him and he's like, all right, well, I'll roll over this way. And then Matt's staring at him on the other side and I'm just like, what the fuck? Is this like some sort of bit? Are you fucking with me, Robert Jordan?
I just love the idea that like Egwene's menstruating, he's trying to jerk and can't do it. Like that's an awful night for everyone.
He's just like, all right, alone time in my sleeping bag. Oh fuck, Perrin's staring right at me. That's weird. I'll roll over here. What the fuck? Matt's staring at me over here.
Alone time in my sleeping bag in the darkest place in the world. And I still can't jerk off.
Assholes brought like fucking lights for everything.
I've been dragging Matt's blind ass for months.
In defense of Matt,
I just need a minute.
In defense of Matt and Perrin, there's literally nothing else to look at. It's just a void.
They're on the edge. They're both on either edge.
Maybe
they're out on a little peninsula.
Maybe they're
and then
jerking
they
off.
turn around. They're not. Oh yeah, they turned around after a minute and just jerked off into the darkness. Rand didn't know.
Yeah, it's like this reminds me of Egwene's pussy, just dark and evil.
God
I wasn't
damn.
expecting that.
Neither was I. Went a weird place.
I had no response to that.
I thought I had a minute to take a drink.
You don't spit take immediately.
I almost did.
Are we to the point where they're traveling and they realize someone's following them?
Yeah. I think Lan says someone or something is following him.
Who do you think that is?
Tom Maryland.
Colin.
It's Colin Robinson.
Colin Robinson.
Yeah.
It is very boring in the ways.
Sucking their energy.
Yeah, he's just sucking. He is the Black Wind. He's just sucking all
like,
their energy out.
I can't even jerk off. I'm so bored.
I love when they're stuck in that well at the end and they think they're gonna die in season 1, and Colin Robinson's just telling him bullshit and he's like, "Are you sucking our energy?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Touche," because we're gonna die anyway unless you save us. So fuck it. It's just touche.
I always forgot about it. I just watched season 1, but I feel like I should have rewatched it before season 2 because I tore through it too quickly, I think.
It's like a rectum.
So anyway, Lan says someone's following them. He's back there on the bridge, and Matt shoots an arrow like an idiot or a badass if he had hit him, or a badass
immediately.
I love this passage. Like it's not meant to be funny, I don't think. because like you're probably supposed to be so hyped up, like holy shit, what's behind them? Like, is it about time for their Trollocs or something? And like there's someone behind us. Like, Matt instantly grabs the bow that he's forgotten about for like.
What you don't know is that Patton Fane had a Trolloc with him. Matt nails that Trolloc. He fell through the waves.
Honestly,
broke it clear in half.
what if right after Matt shot the arrow, like the dialogue just goes, and then they heard "ow."
Good shot.
We're like, incredible.
God damn. He's some sort of battle lord?
But Lan just goes, "Stop it, you village idiot!" Like,
like, what are you shooting at?
you stupid cunt!
I mean, just the possibility.
Somebody's following us. Not for long.
What are you doing up there? Guessing if anyone's coming along?
He's like, look, there's at least a 1% chance that guy's dead.
And related,
maybe not 1%, but it's definitely non-zero.
Is this, by the way, like, and on a weirdly not too serious but kind of serious note, is this sort of like their Lord of the Rings? They're in the Dwarven Mountain moment, and like
the Balrog moment.
Yeah, like Matt is the one that like he woke up the Black Wind by shooting the arrow. Basically, he like knocked the bucket down the well, kind of thing.
No.
He just like
find out Hayden Fane.
Like 1,000 yards later, the arrow hits nothingness, and the wind is like, "What the hell was that? Are there people on the way?"
If you fire that arrow, you fire the arrow. Maybe you're creating some wind.
I think it's just a matter of time that this is all going to happen. Like that the match and shit.
Oh, for sure. I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
I would just love the idea of it being like Matt, like somehow stirred up the Black Wind and was like, it's all his fault.
Is that
so? Every fucking taboo place they go with an ancient evil, he's just like, I'm gonna wake that up.
I'm gonna wake this up. I don't know. Bring a piece of it with me.
Moraine purposely leaves him in Faldera after this. Like, you're not coming to the fucking eye of the
Matt is one sidestep away from being Hayden Fane.
Yeah.
he's also a sidestep away from being an annoying hobbit that's just along for the ride.
Mary, not Matt. Pippin.
Well, so right after he shoots the arrow, that's when they find the Trolloc writing, and then shortly or immediately afterwards, they find the Trollocs that are stone.
Yeah, dead Trollocs. Yeah.
Well, there's an important part here is that Lan can't feel Fane, which is who it is, because of the taint all around him. So he can't tell whether or not there's someone evil following him or someone benign that's just trying to keep a distance.
Would he have been able to tell otherwise?
Well, when Matt, yeah, he would. But when Matt shoots the arrow, he's like, "You're an idiot." And he's like, "Why? No one's following us but somebody evil." And he's like, "We're here." And he's like, "Oh.
Yeah,
right,
that's horrible logic.
I know, but it's just like one of those things where it's like, well, all right, fair enough.
Well, I think that Moraine's worried
I
about,
guess Master Gil could be back there randomly.
No, but Moraine's worried is it shadow spawn. You forgot
your satchel. Following up behind you. No worries.
Moraine's worried is it Mirajal Trolloc, and he's like, well, I can't feel anything, but
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah,
the fucking arrow fires off. Somebody goes, "Ow!" and it's Master Gil, and he's like, "You forgot your purse." Just trying to bring it to you.
I was just bringing it to you. Well, why didn't you come forward when? Because Lan even mentions that they almost caught up to them, but they shuffled back.
It's called customer service.
So when they realized that the way gates is how the Trollocs were moving all this time, that's a pretty huge realization. However, for us on a reread, we don't give a fuck.
It's still a very cool.
It's pretty
reveal.
awesome.
And
yeah,
it almost makes you wonder. Like, I get the fact that again, no one was using. People were still using the waves until 600-700 years ago, or by people in Ogier, and it probably takes time to even open it. It's not like the fucking Shadow Spawn knew how to use it. So they had to learn. It was random. And then they had to figure out where they were going because, you don't want to just open one up in the middle of Camelin and get wiped the fuck out. And all of a sudden, well, now we can't trust this shit. Just build an army around it.
What happened to the Trollocs? Is that what happens if you get caught by the wind? Like you get sucked into the stone and become part of the bridge?
Yeah.
That's an interesting question because I don't know about that. Is that what that is?
I don't know. I like that idea. But then again, why would there be a broken bridge? We need more people to just send people into the ways constantly to fix the bridge.
Repair this bridge. You'll be fine. Don't worry about anything.
Yeah, like if 7,000 people die there screaming, like the bridge will be dead.
Everything's fine. That guy in Camelin uses it as a extra part of his cellar.
Yeah. It's literally the formation.
His magic cellar. It's his Harry Potter chin.
It's a vanishing cabinet.
Oh my God, Tom, that's exactly what it is.
There is
fucking rip off of Harry Potter.
As Tom mentioned,
it's where that guy camps during the Quidditch World Cup.
There is one possibility though to the contrary, I guess, in that Moraine mentions that all these people, like the creators of the ways existed during the time of madness, so before the blight existed. So while Trollocs were kind of roaming the earth, maybe it was a ward gone recently crazy that caught them all.
Oh yeah, she mentions that they probably put traps. Yeah, you're right.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I still feel Mash and Shin's pretty option.
I feel like Match and Chin would just rip them apart, like they'd be gone. Like I don't really think they'd just hit. It would be like, let's sink you into the stone now, and that's how you die.
But what is the possibility? What's always interested me is like, what if Mash and Shin is just a ward gone wrong? Like Mash and Shin is definitely.
That's a very good theory. I like that theory a lot because based on what Moraine was saying, like they don't even know where it comes from. It's like she kind of like throws out a couple like explanations of like maybe it's this, we don't know.
Yeah, maybe
but
something
like that's a fucking good idea.
Something that walked in that shouldn't have. I've always felt like it was almost like the manifestation of the taint, in that, if you know what I mean. I bet.
Yeah, maybe it was something in the ways to hunt down Trollocs or Shadow Spawn, and then because it was made with the taint, it like just turned into hunting down anything that moved, kind of thing.
If you were to build a house on the landing of the ways, like right outside of your basement, but like in the ceiling, you put in like a really, really powerful oven fan, so the wind could never get in. Yeah, you could live there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have like AC units pumping out in all your windows.
Yeah, constantly.
Your neighbors, your poor neighbors.
I can't get in. Can never get in.
And then you just walk out your back door. That back door is the gateway of the ways. You're fine.
And then you leave the gate open and leave those fans running. So a lot of normal air is pumping into the ways. You fix the ways.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Suddenly the sun is shining.
Yeah.
You've won
your
the ways.
neighbors look like 18th century or 19th century London. But fuck it.
No, don't worry about that, Jono. So she says they obviously don't know all the passes of the ways, or they'd be in Camelin. It's dangerous for them too. They find a dead Trollocs, that we already said. Rand hears the wind. They freak out.
Yeah. Quickly after the dead Trollocs, it's Rand in the wind, and then it's just
Rand's
a lot of
like, should I be hearing wind right now?
It's just
we gotta go.
At this point, it's a Benny Hill cartoon.
Yeah, it really is. Like, run!
It's a good thing Land didn't go back, by the way.
Yeah.
Because they would have been like, holy fuck the wind, let's go! And he would have been like, shit, there we're gone.
I don't know why he was worried about it. Why catch him in the waves?
Wouldn't he just be able to sense Moraine and like catch up to them?
Well, also, someone's following us. Like, how about when we get out, then we just hang out by the gate and wait for this guy to come out as well. I'll get him there. Why do it in the ways?
You guys are both right. Like, I don't understand Loyal's concern.
Well, the bridges do double back on each other, so maybe it would be slightly difficult for his location, like radar, to find Moraine. But I feel like they wouldn't have gotten that far ahead, though. You know.
Yeah.
Also, I also have to say, like, I believe there's 0% chance that Land could get lost in the waves.
Agreed.
I know. We're giving Loyal's argument the benefit of the doubt, not Land's. We're not questioning Land.
Yeah, he's fucking Captain America.
But again, the point
he's
remains,
coming out.
Why not just walk outside and just
wait? Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't have that opportunity, Jono, because of the wind. So they race up the last two bridges. Moraine uses her lightsaber to cut a hole in the way gate because the key is gone.
This is obviously a ripoff of GoldenEye's laser, where she's got to use it to cut through the metal vent there in the train.
I think I just described it as a lightsaber.
Yeah, what part of Harry Potter did that ripoff?
I think book 17, where Pierce Brosnan uses the laser to rescue Natalia.
Doesn't make any sense. I do love this part. It is actually, absolutely terrifying. And then she's cutting the hole through, and Lan's horse kicks it out. Like, it is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Lan's horse smashes the door.
Yeah, it's, again, like the ways are filled with the most basic but awesome, cool imagery. It's literally, here's dark and here's stone.
So I skimmed this pretty fucking quickly, but what does she do to hold off Match and Shin?
She makes a fire thing out of her staff, Joe.
Okay.
I mean,
but it's not like balefire or anything, right?
It's basically a spark. It's basically a sparkler.
One of the big ones from like a wedding.
Yeah.
Like a Roman candle.
Big sparkler.
Joe, to your point, I was reading it, and if you consider that, so what Rand thinks is the first time he saw her fire, it was bright white and like clear and pure. And then this fire that she used originally to cut through the door is like
a cum joke is coming. I can feel it.
In the air tonight. This one is like twisted and like darkened and like looks gross. If you use the base for balefire, should also be kind of that pure fucking fire with almost.
Oh yeah, pure white light.
You can't use balefire like that. Why are we talking about this? It's not how it works.
I get that, but at the same time, like. What happened, again, what an if clause, because, we've never finished this book.
Hey, guys, this is how we've grown over 10 years. If this was 10 years ago, Jono would have argued that you could maybe use balefire that way. But that's the difference.
But no, it's like my first reread of it today, I was just like, what if that is balefire? And then I was like, no. Balefire, no matter what.
Maybe it's a light power version of an attic fan.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
He does describe it as syrupy, which makes sense for a syrup.
I almost would have expected this moment to be like a Sanderson type moment where like she pulled out some power she hasn't used before, like the fucking like wings of wind or something to stop the storm from hitting.
I mean, she did to a degree. Like, we don't know what this was. And I tend to think it was something that we could have seen like all the time in books in the future, but not something that would have been visualized or, able to be seen by like random parent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like to their eyes, it would have looked like her just holding the staff, I think.
Their eyes. So you made hit on a really good point, Tom. All the Ajahs have their own spells, and all the Aes Sedai also have their own spells, and there's also spells that we've never fucking seen. Because why would we? Like, we only see
every house in Hogwarts has their own magic. We know that. Exactly.
But like the ways were used again for 2,500 years minimum. Why
minimum?
The last few hundred years, maybe Mash and Shin was starting to show up, and they actually had ways to combat it and to kind of
pun intended,
because there's a bat or
not ways.
I like that all three were possible.
Suddenly I fly away.
Also, just circling back real quick with the talk of the horses kicking the doors open and everything.
The horses.
Couldn't Lan have circled back and then followed the horse poop back to the group?
Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah, I would think so.
Lan could have done anything, Tom.
Those horses were definitely shitting. Those horses were definitely shitting all over the ways.
Tom, let me ask you a question. Could Batman have found them?
That's a stupid question.
Yeah, it is a stupid question. So Lan could have found them. Because he is Batman.
Again, I like the idea that there's just human shit everywhere too. Because I mean, they're all dumping.
You just scoop off one bridge. Scoop off the bridge.
We never really think about that. They were in there a couple days. They were definitely all taking turns pissing and shitting.
Yeah, not only that, they're doing it at the edge of the light, so like you just see someone just dumping off the side of your lantern.
I would absolutely not poop off the bridge. I would poop in the middle of the bridge. I'm not going up to the edge and sticking my ass out. Sorry.
It's like going up the edge of the fucking Empire State Building and just like, I'm going to take a shit off the edge of this.
Not a chance. I might pee over the edge.
Yeah, I would definitely pee over the edge.
As a man,
that's 100%.
As a woman, no.
If they had talked about that like once every couple of hours, like you trot back like 20 yards beyond the circle of light and just take a shit and then run back up and meet everybody.
Tom, listen, time is of the essence. They all shit and pissed on their horses.
Oh, they just pooped and pissed in their pants?
Yeah, on the horses. Yeah.
You have the darkest saddle. Like, what have you been eating?
That's really a good point.
Don't worry about
it. If I was in the ways and every second counted, I'd be like, I guess we just shit our pants.
So anyway, Moraine comes out. She holds off the wind. The wind can't get out, and she's like, "Oh, thank God! I wasn't even sure if that would happen." And I was like, "Holy fuck!" All right, that moment was horrifying.
Yeah,
when she's not out right away.
But yeah, that changes drastically in the next book.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah. Nynaeve was like, "What the fuck was that, Moraine? I thought you said we were going to be all right." And she's like, "I never said that."
How does Nynaeve get that impression based on the conversation they had before they left? I don't know.
Also, they end that conversation with Rand saying they planned into the night, meaning like, how many times did they go over this?
Like they did not stop talking about it.
We are probably going to die.
They definitely didn't plan like supplies and routes into the night because Lan already knew what they would need and where they needed to go. So they definitely just talked about the ways.
I mean, I think he just knew that they needed a shitload of food and a shitload of lanterns. Like, I think it was just like as much oil and as much food. I mean, like, we don't know how long we're going to be in there.
He already knew that. He didn't need 5 people from the 2 rivers to be like, well, maybe we should bring some bread.
Tom, you're wrong. He was asking for how many times, like, what is your bowel movement like, that kind of thing, because we're going to need to be changing pants every fucking time on the horse, because we're not fucking stopping. All right.
That's what the planning was. It was all about where you take a shit and where you piss.
Yeah.
They spent all night planning shipwrecks.
Yeah. And what bogged it down was
Lan pulled out a laptop, opened an Excel spreadsheet, and it's like, this is how it's going to go.
You can just see Lan being all like super frustrated with them and be like, oh my God, I've answered this question 1,000 times. The boys pee off the side of the bridges. The girls pee into the buckets. We dump them off the side of the bridges. If you have to take a shit,
well, wait.
You shit your pants.
You go 20 yards back into the dark, and then you come back to the circle of light.
I think it's obvious that what happened was clearly the Green was not synced up with Nynaeve, so they had to each kind of go back in time to figure out, well, who's menstruating when, and maybe they're a day or 2 off. Clearly, one of them was fucking menstruating, and that's
got to be. It's got to be brutal to hit your period in the ways.
Hey, before we wrap up this chapter, what do you guys have for twat shows and thoughts? You have anything?
I do. I feel like you can't get around the usefulness of the ways as far as a plot device, because it's the reason.
I mean, the ways visually is going to be fucking crazy and awesome, and I can't wait to see it. Although it will sort of be like Iron Man in his own helmet, like with just darkness.
It won't be that hard or expensive. It's just all
not at all.
It'll be super cool and creepy though. Like it'll be awesome in a lot of ways. I think it's gonna be fucking cool.
And you don't need more than 15 minutes to cover all of this.
No, not at all. But I think that the problem is, and maybe it's just because it's my own recency bias, the problem I realize is like, why weren't the ways used more widespread in earlier eras, right? so like they've got to figure out a way of kind of being like, look how fucking useful these are. But also, there's a reason why people have never heard. There's a reason why it was.
Yeah, because I don't think the show is going to have a 20-minute scene of them sitting at a table while Loyal describes how bad the ways are. They're just going to be like, we need to go to the ways. And they'll be like, that's dangerous. We could all die. And then they're going to go. Like, it's not going to be.
Yeah, you've
they're not going to plan into the night.
Creation
on
and
the show,
embracing at the same time, a reason to avoid them. Like, there's got to be all of that at once.
So my only notes for the show is I can't wait for Moraine to cut a hole in the fucking waygate. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that'll be great.
I just wrote Moraine versus Mach and Shin. I thought that was going to be cool.
Again, they're just going to show that scene of Pierce Brosnan cutting through that thing.
What if they did? What if like nothing happens? And then it got to the end of the show and like, we don't have the budget for this. And they just put in a clip of GoldenEye and played the.
I'm trying to think of the budget.
It'll just be like a brief title card will come up. It'll say something along the lines of COVID-19, we couldn't film. And then it'll just cut to GoldenEye. Pierce Brosnan lasering a hole in a metal plate. And then it'll just cut to them being outside the way.
That would be incredible.
Talking to Natalia, these times about like 3 minutes is all they've got left because Matt and Chin's coming.
What do you think? Yeah, wait, in the show, what do you think they will do? Like, do you think we'll hear a breeze and then like?
I suspect you'll see their.
I don't know. Maybe more visual, like their clothing will start to rustle, or their hair will rustle, or
I think it'll be
like does the wind
Lorraine's hair move or Nynaeve's hair move?
But like the words that the wind says, does that have the same effect if you're watching a show and you hear it like being whispered? Or will it even be cool? Will it even be words?
Kind of like Lord of the Rings style, like when like they should hire Benedict Cumberbatch to do it. You know,
the answer is yes. I would love.
Will it even be words or just noise?
I think noise.
I think it'd be cool if you hear the words. It wouldn't be weird. It would be kind of like a dragon or an ominous like threat, like whispering horrible things. It'd be cool if you hear the words. It doesn't matter if it doesn't actually have a physical body. So anyway, Moraine says something along the lines of "There is worse to face yet," and then she's like, "Oh, by the way, this is dangerous. Algamar should wall this off."
Yeah. So in essence, what's left, by the way, is just a giant gaping hole. To the waves.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that. Like, they know someone's following. They left the door open. Can they not block it? Can she not like lift up some rocks,
like Yoda style? She should be able to.
Or is she too? Well, she might be too worn out, I guess, from holding.
The wind. Tom, it's not just lift up some rocks. It's lift up the original gate. It's the land knocks it outward.
Or why not
the workers that Algamar sends down to wall off that gate? They're like slowly bricking it up, and then suddenly Peyton Fane bursts out.
Can she not?
Is that what she was worried about? Look at that scraggly little demon man.
Yeah, can she not at least put? Yeah. Can she put like a wall of air and tie it off, or like ward it at least?
Yes,
that makes sense.
She does.
Yeah, she does.
She does nothing.
I think when she realizes the wind can't escape the waves, she's like, okay, we're good.
She's like, oh, thank God.
But they know something's following them. I guess the idea that something... I guess the idea that something can make it through Match and Shin to get out of that gate, even if it was following them, is like astronomically impossible, that she's just like, there's no fucking way. We're good.
Yeah, but 2 days.
Yeah.
But 2 days later, a 6-year-old boy like chases his ball into the waves.
Comes back dead.
Whoops. Look both ways before crossing the ways.
I didn't care for that.
That's the lamest joke, but you know what? So that's tWoTcast this week. If you have any comments or questions, look both ways before telling us the best way, which is on Twitter at tWoTcast.
Listen, wherever you get your podcasts. You can email us, twotcast@gmail.com.
You can join us in the Waze and conversation on our Waze Discord server, but definitely look both ways before permanently linked to the top of our Waze Twitter profile.
What the fuck?
We're on Patreon now.
Oh, okay.
At patreon.com/tWoTcast. If you enjoy the show and there's no ways you don't, help us out. $1.
Why is that the best joke I heard all night?
I need a minute. There's no ways you don't. Oh my god, it's so dumb. tWoTcast theme song brought to you by Taffy Bennington at Sing with Taffy on Twitter and Anarchy 101 on YouTube. Watch her shit, it's very funny.
Join us next week for the Wheel of Time, Book 1, The Eye of the World. Part 13, covering chapters 46 through 48. I'm Jono. You were listening to Joe.
Keep the change, you filthy animals.
Tom.
Study your math. Study your ways.
Study your ways. And this is the ways we say goodbye.
All right, everyone, shut the f*** up.
Wheel of Time. Reread podcast. Explicit and R freaking rated. John is the wild card, always talking shit. Joe's the straight man. He's a total dick. Tom calls in if he's not too busy.